Welcome to the Stone Table. This isn't a stage, it's a gathering place. Here, lifters of all kinds bring their stories. The heavy, the honest, and the hard-earned. Real voices, real weight. Shared like a good pour among friends. Recorded in Ontario, Canada, and open to lifters everywhere. Sláinte.
Welcome back. Today we start in Chapter 2 of Peter J. Martin's Twixt the Stone and the Turf, an understanding of Gaelic strength and stone lifting. When I first started getting into stone lifting, I thought that the language around it would be simple. Lifting stone was a lifting stone. A putting stone was a putting stone. Clack neart, manhood stones, clack quid fear. Easy enough. But then I started reading Peter Martin's work on the Gaelic language of strength and realized very quickly that nothing about this tradition was ever meant to be neat and standardized. The truth is, the culture of strength in the Highlands and Islands was deeply regional, deeply oral, and deeply tied to the people who lived there. The language shifted depending on where you were standing. One glen might call a stone one thing, while another community used an entirely different word for what looked like the same object. Martin writes in Chapter 2, quote, "The language of Gaelic strength in the modern era has in many ways been subjected to a simplification that assumes a general standardization," end quote. And honestly, that line explains so much about what happens when modern strength culture tries to look backward. We want categories, definitions, rules. We want to know what counts and what doesn't count as a lift. But Gaelic strength culture didn't really work that way. For most of its history, Gaelic was a spoken language carried by working people more than scholars, by farmers, fishermen, laborers, crofters, people whose lives depended far more on physical capability than literacy. Martin points out that before 1745, very little Gaelic writing even existed. Strength lived in stories, in local customs, in memory, and in practice. That meant language evolved differently from place to place. Some dialects were so distinct, you could tell where a person came from just by how they spoke. And because of that, there was never one universal Gaelic word, like clack quid fear or manhood stone for stones of strength. Instead, there are many, and in the next few episodes, we'll get into explaining the origins of these definitions. There's clack ultuk, clack tuglach, clack quid fear, clack neart, clack duchesne, dornag, and pulaid. And then there are stones that had no formal category at all. Martin explains that these terms were often regional and sometimes unique to specific areas. They could overlap in meaning, shift between dialects, and describe different types of strength stones depending on local usage. Rather than one standardized system across the Highlands and Islands, the terminology reflected the diversity of Gaelic culture and language. And in the next episode, we will start with clack ultuk. Now on to the episode. Welcome back to the Stone Table Podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Innes. Today's guest is someone I had the privilege of seeing in action in person. I was at the Glengarry Highland Games at the Ardblair Stones in 2023. And this guest was doing his, I think, maybe second run that day of these stones. And I was manning the stones, and I was on the last stone, which is 335 pounds. And he looked up and he said, "Would you like me to lift this for you?" And of course, this guest did. And it was incredible. And the crowd went wild after he did that. But what most importantly wasn't just about his strength that I saw in him that day. He was surrounded by community. And it was a tight-knit team, loyal, powerful, strong, lots of records in their own right. The kind of group that clearly shows up for each other. He's a 13-time European champion, 9-time world champion powerlifter. He's UK's strongest master and the founder of Outcast Barbell. And he's one of the early figures who helped bring, in my view, traditional stone lifting back into the modern strength world before Stoneland became a thing. He's lifted legendary stones, set records with Atlas stones. He's carried the Husafell. He has put the Inver and the Menzies overhead, and he's inspired a new generation of stone lifters along the way. Most people know him as Andy the Outcast or Andrew Cairney. Andy, welcome to the show.
Hi, how you doing, Rebecca? It's an absolute pleasure to be on your podcast. Thanks for your patience waiting for me to work out how we got on the podcast.
That's how it goes sometimes. No, thank you so much. I've been really, really looking forward to this conversation. We have so much to cover. But as we start with every guest, what are you drinking today?
I have just finished training and I'm boring drinking. I'm in a whiskey room, but I'm drinking water. So sorry, but we pretend I'm drinking something much better. A 27
enough.
single malt.
Well, I went out and purchased Dalmore just for this conversation for a number of reasons. For those that know anything about strength, David Webster is a real icon in that world. And he would always have Dalmore around after lifting stones to cheers people on. And I know David Webster has witnessed you, Andy, lift a number of stones and do some very historic things that haven't been achieved in like 500 years. And I'm talking about the Menzies stone. So with that, a tribute to David Webster, to you, Wancha.
Indeed. To David Webster, the grandfather of strength.
Absolutely. Oh, that's good. I've never had this one before, but I'm quite happy with that.
David get fabulous tasting whiskey.
It is. Okay, so for those that don't know, you call yourself Andy the Outcast. What does that mean to you personally? How did that come about?
Initially, it was initially I trained in a really spit and sawdust gym called the Marine Craft, and it was like old school, like proper, like COVID was in there 30 years before it existed elsewhere. It was a shithole, for want of a better terminology. Really rough gym, but it was an incredible gym, incredible environment, and I absolutely adored it. And unfortunately, it was moving, possibly closing down. So I was like, well, this was me in the peak of my powerlifting and everything, and there was no way that I could go to a commercial gym like one of those, chains. I think in America you've got like Planet Fitness or whatever you call it, and there was no way that I could do the type of training I was going to do. And then the majority of really, really big gyms in Glasgow were all bodybuilding. So I decided that I was going to open, I had no choice but to open my own gym. And I called it OBS, which is Outcast Barbell Sanctuary. And the tagline is for the commercially unwanted. So the whole pitch of the gym was to make it for people that the generic $12.99 a month gyms didn't want. Your guys that are going to use chalk, sweat, scream, play loud music, have ripped jeans on and work boots and nosebleeds, and the kind of guys that get looked upon as freaks in a commercial gym. I said, well, this is the sanctuary. This is the sanctuary for you. Come to OBS and you can be a hardcore lifter. So the Andy the Outcast just came from, it was Andy Cairney from Outcast Barbell Sanctuary. I think people have asked me that before, and I suppose it sticks because I've never really been one for sticking to trends. Like you'll probably notice, like I'm really good friends with Jamie, and I know everyone like Brett Nicol and all the other guys that are really passionate about stone lifting in Scotland. Great guys, love them all to bits, and they'd be welcome in my house, as would I be in theirs. But I never really, I always kind of do my own thing, I suppose. Like, and it's nothing disrespectful or I think I'm too good or not good enough for these guys, but I suppose when it comes to stone lifting, I like to do my own thing, and I've never really stuck in with the communities, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I suppose so in many respects I'm the kind of outcast, I suppose, in the stone lifting world,
Yeah, I would say that too, because So when I was researching this, the first lift that I came across was the Inver lift. And for those that have not seen Andy lift the Inver overhead, it is the best lift of the Inver stone of all time. And I think overhead. And I think you were the fourth person to lift it overhead.
Yeah, if I recollect, it's been a while since I checked, but I believe the three people that preceded me were absolute legends. There's a gentleman called Francis Brebner, who fantastic Highland Games athlete. I've had the pleasure of meeting. Hamish Davidson, which is Jesus. Hamish is quite the character, but nonetheless an absolute legend in the strength community. I mean, Dougie Edmonds has wrote books about Hamish Davidson and his adventures, and then of course the other man who named needs no introduction, Kaz. So those were the guys that lifted it before me, and I believe I was the fourth. And it was really nice. It was a really nice occasion for me. I did it with two of my really good friends, Ken Novitsky, who owns Cerberus USA, and Stainless Stephen Murray. We both went on an adventure that weekend, and we did the Dinnies stones, and it was really cool because we went to do the Dinnies stones first. Now Ken Novitsky, Ken's quite modest. You probably wouldn't know this, man, but Ken was the youngest person to ever lift the Dinnies. Ken stayed 5 minutes from him in a place called Bankery. So he did them at like 16 years of age. So we decided we'd go have a go. We went up to his house and I got to meet his dad for the first time. Unfortunately, his dad passed away very soon after. So it was an absolute big thing for me that I met his dad before he passed. And then we went to do the stone at Portark, and it wasn't there because the day we chose to do the Dinnie stone, it was the Highland Games, the Braemar Highland Games, and the stone was there. So we actually went to the Highland Games. The Dinnie stones were in a tent with a big, huge Donald Dinnie tribute, and we asked, could we lift them? And we thought they might shun us and say, no, they're not for lifting today. We were like, no, come play, come lift them. That'd be great. The crowd loved that. So we actually were the last people to lift the Dinnie stone in the tent in front of the last of Donald Dinnie's descendants. So that was pretty cool. He was the gentleman that looked after the website before Shanksy took over it. So so we lifted them. We lifted them in the tent, and you're going, why is he not talking about the Inverstone? I'll get to that bit, right?
No, this is good.
We lifted them in the tent, and Ken lifted them with absolute ease. Stainless lifted them as well, which was an incredible feat of strength for a man of his size and stature and his age and everything. And I couldn't lift them. And the reason why I couldn't lift them was I had never been shown how to hook grip. I'd never learned to do it, so they forcefully slapped me about a bit and then forced me into a hook grip position, and I eventually lifted them. And I lifted them once I'd been shown how to hook grip. I lifted them comfortably, not easy, but I'd done them nonetheless. So the reason why I was so good at pressing the Inverstone, and a lot of people don't know this, is I had to put up with the two of them taking the absolute piss out me from the Braemar Highland Games all the way to the Inver Hotel, like, you were shit, you couldn't do them, you were so rotten, you're supposed to be Scotland's strongest man, and you can't even lift the Dinnies, all the way there. So see, by the time I got to the stone, I was absolutely, totally and utterly fired up and enraged. So I was like, everybody's like, oh, you made it look so easy. What were you thinking? I was like, I'll tell you what I was thinking. I was going to kill the two of them because they were making fun of me.
No, it's absolutely incredible. Like, and that was 2009, I think, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of what I wanted to start back at the beginning of the stone journey for you, because as you know now, through social media, through Stoneland, there's been a lot of people discovering stones, but there were few that were doing it around your time. As we were talking off mics here at the beginning, and there was no GPS, there was no map, you had to read books to do it. And when I was talking to Jamie McGregor about doing this episode with you, he has spoke openly to me about how you influenced his own path into stone lifting. And so I'm just wondering, like, before it became popular, how did you know about the stone lifting? Like, what drew you to that? Was it a book? Was it?
A lot. I know it sounds cheesy, but a lot of it was folklore. Like it was like whispers, and people would say, "Oh, have you heard of the Fianna Stone?" And I'm like, "No," and they're like, "It's in Glen Lyon," and I'm like, "Oh, that sounds good." And maybe there'd be a couple of old pictures of it, and someone would write in a strong, because this was before social media and everything, and people maybe we had like a strength forum. We used to have a couple of cool strength forums like Sugden Barbell, and somebody would be like, "Oh, James Graham." James, I don't know if you've heard of James. James and me are not huge friends. We're not like really close. But I don't mean that we don't dislike each other. We've just never spent any great time in each other's company. But James is a badass, and he did it a lot for the Stones. So I always give him praise. He was Jamie before Jamie. And James Graham, I think, had went and did a few Stones and documented it on YouTube. And I messaged him and asked for help, and he sent me PDFs of the old books and stuff. So it was kind of cool. It was like, you know, Indiana Jones or National Treasure kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
so that was kind of the fun part was trying to find them. I actually went to do the Glen Limestone, the Fianna twice, and I couldn't get to it. And it turned out that a farmer had stolen it and um, kept it under lock and key because he was trying to sell it. This is the truth. I'm not. This is the Scotsman for you. We're very tight. So I actually, it took me 3 attempts to even see the Fianna with my own eyes. I think that's maybe why it's my favourite stone, because I had to, it took it took so long to find it. But so yeah, back in the days before GPS and all the websites, is a lot of it was just word of mouth. If I recollect, let me get this right. One day we were trying to find the Sheriff Moore stone, the one Jamie's just had all refixed. Uh, and I think I phoned someone on their mobile phone and asked, "We can't find it. Can you help?" And we go, I think it was Christopher Beefy. Beefy.
Yeah.
We phoned Beefy and we're like, we can't find it. Can you help? And he was like, "Can you see a windmill?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Can you see a fence?" Yes. Right. Keep walking along that fence. That was kind of how you found them, So it was much harder. But I suppose in many ways it was kind of more rewarding because half the fun was finding the stone before you even got a chance to lift it. Yeah.
Yeah, and, yeah, I'm lucky because Jamie just takes me around to all the stones, so I I haven't had to, although, one part of my trip, I did navigate myself, and it is tough. I tried to go back to the Fianna on my way back down from Inverness, and it was really hard to find it again on my own, and those roads for us Canadians, they're really, really,
Yeah.
really narrow. I was by myself. But yeah, Fianna was an amazing experience. But what was that your first stone, or what was your first historic stone?
Genuinely, my first this is people laugh. My first ever stone was the Dinnies. That was it. The most famous of them all. And then my second stone was my press of the Inver. So
Denver.
I kind of started. I started at the top. Everything then was downhill. So yeah, I did. I think I did in chronological order. I did the Dinnies, and then I went and did the Inver. And then someone said to me, "Oh, you can press the Inver. Why don't you press the Menzies or the Mingus?" I know it's called the Chieftain Stone now, but I was called the Menzies when I was doing it, so I'm like, shut up with your new names. But but no, so somebody said to me, "Why don't you go press that?" They was implying that it was a tougher stone, even though slightly less. It was a more difficult stone to press. So that was my next adventure. Then I went and did that with David Webster in stainless, and we
Mhm.
found it and a cheesy old VHS camcorder. That's what's, like we didn't even. I think I'm sure I had a mobile phone, but it certainly didn't have like, you know, 8K, 16K cameras on it or anything. So we
Yeah.
actually physically had to bring like an old camera. Uh, so it's filmed in like 4:3 format and shit. So that's cool. I like being old school where my documented footage is, it looks like old cinematography.
It's that lift is also amazing. And am I right to understand that when you had showed David the lift of your Inver, that he said, is that sped up?
Yeah. How nice was that? Like David called bullshit on me. He said we showed him it on. I think we showed him it on the camera because it was the same cassette, and we showed him it on the viewfinder of the camera, and he went, "Did you just speed that up there?" And I went, "No," and he was like, "No, I'm sorry, but he had saw Kaz and Francis Brebner's lifts and went, no, that was sped up." So I was laughing because I was like, you have no idea the compliment you've just paid me. This is the grandfather of strength. This is the man that taught Arnold Schwarzenegger, trained Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is the man that refound the Dinnies stones. This man found them. This is a god. And when a god tells you that your lift's so good that it looks unrealistic, that could be the greatest compliment I've ever been given.
Yeah. And I mean, the Menzies were just as fast, or the Menzie was just as fast as well. It was
Yeah.
very.
I don't know if I've said this before as well. I'll tell you a wee secret because I've been keeping these for your podcast because you're the coolest.
Thank you.
But I was competing at UK's Strongest Man less than a week before that, and I detached my right calf muscle. I don't mean I tore it, and I don't mean like it was detached from the bone. And the only reason I went and did that Dinnie stone was because the press the Menzies was because we'd arranged for David Webster to be witness or present. So I would have cancelled it had it not been for David, and I didn't want to waste his time. He's a legend, and it was an honour for him to give up his time to come view me lifting it. So if you actually watch the Menzies Stone video of me pressing it, you'll see that I have 3 calf supports, a knee support, and a wrist support round my ankle because my whole leg is in mortal agony. When I did it, it was more difficult for me to walk to the stone than it was to press it. And I was really lucky because the way I press stones is I don't press them with brute strength. Like, there's like Big Z and Eddie Hall have got phenomenal static power where they can just clean it, wobble about, and then find a position and just press. I have to time mine, so it has to go bang, bang. It has to be quite explosive like an Olympic lifter. I've got to flick it, catch it, and go. So when I did the Menzies Stone, I knew that I was only going to have a couple of attempts at it before my calf just said no. So I was really lucky where I actually got it. I think I got it in the second attempt, which was really lucky because I think if I'd have tried 2 or 3 more times, I don't think my calf would have tolerated it. So the gods were really kind to me that day. And had it been maybe a slight missed time, I might never achieved it, and it might have been Thingy that became the first person to do it. Oh my God, what's his name? The world's strongest.
Martin.
Martin's Lysis.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Martin. But yeah, he's the second man to ever press it, and I'm okay sharing that with him because he's an absolute badass. I really enjoy his content. He's a really cool dude. He's one of my favourite lifters of all time.
It's interesting that you say that you had to time it and pop it because when I've watched them repeatedly before I even have invited you to be a guest on here, but it's almost like you Viper pressed the stone, to be honest. It's that fast. There was no hesitation. That it was just like pick it up and it's up, and it's absolutely incredible. But one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show is you would have been able to meet June when you did the Inver in 2009.
The wonderful June.
Yeah. And her passing, the anniversary of her passing is coming up at the end of the month. And I just wanted to take some time with viewers, given that you studied these stones. Could you just give us a little bit of the history of the Inver and your experience with when you lifted it and June? Any conversations you've had with June?
Yeah. I've had the pleasure of. I went back a couple of times. I met June a couple of times. I only ever pressed it the first time. And then when I went back, I was with friends and stuff and guys I was trying to teach. So I only ever shouldered it. After that, I was with Charlie Blair, Oliphant and stuff. And I'm not saying that I would have pressed it easy, but I didn't want to try and press it because I didn't want to upstage everybody. I didn't want to make it about me. I know a few people spat their tea out there when I said that. But I was like, but I was like, no, we'll just, it's not about me. I'm here. So when I met June a few times, I was there more of a teacher than a participant, and she was always lovely. So welcoming. I used to. I don't know if other people did this, but we used to always bring her like giant big boxes of Quality Street. I don't know if you get Quality Street in America.
Yes. Yeah.
Like big, like candy, like chocolate. So I always made a point, because you're such a beautiful old woman, and she used to, she would bring you into her house, and her house was always immaculate, immaculate. And she'd make you a cup of tea, and you could go sign the book. So I always felt, if she was going to be so hospitable to let you into your house and offer you a cup of tea, you never show up empty handed. Never show up empty handed. So we always used to buy her a big giant box of sweets. And then I think by the third time I came, she was like, "Will you buy me something else rather than sweets? I'm getting fat here." But no, she was lovely, and they don't make people that anymore. We don't live in a society anymore. But it was really cute. It was really cute where you would knock on her door and she would say, "I know why you're here. It's over there." That was it. I know why you're here. It's over there. And then she would watch you from the window and applaud. So yeah, it's a shame that she's not. I mean, Martin Janskis and stuff. A great guy, good friend. Made some wonderful publications, and I'll always stick up for Martin if anybody's got anything bad to say about him, and I'll always big him up when I get the chance, because I love him to bits. But Martin done a great job putting it outside the Highland Games Centre and stuff, and it's cool, and everybody else, and the plaque to June, and the fact that they've got a barrel there, and they've got the crash mat. I'm not for a second not saying that's amazing, fantastic, and God bless everybody that's working hard to keep the stones safe and to preserve them. But I think people miss a wee bit when they don't get to knock. There was something cute about it, knocking on the wee woman's door and asking, "Could you enter our property premises and have a go and sign in the book?" So I'm really lucky that I was part of the generation that got to do that. And it's a shame we don't have a June anymore. So, but yeah.
Yeah, it's the same with like the Putrack, right? Being able to go knock on that door to be able to go down and lift that stone.
Yeah,
But
it's a lovely setting as well, and then the horses and everything, and the family that look after it are fantastic. I'm actually on the first page. I'm really chuffed about that. The Putrack's book, I'm on page 1 of it, so I'm really pleased about that as well. I think it's me and Jamie are the first 2 people on it. So that genuinely, I'm not being cheesy. I'm dead honoured about stuff like that. I'm on the very first page.
I'll have to go back and look at that, because I'm not on the first page. I am like, I'm on it twice, but
yeah, the fact you're on it is something to be ridiculously proud about, and it's an honour for me to share that book with you, madam. It's an honour to share. But I'm chuffed. I'm pretty sure I'm on the first page of it. But it's a really nice family to look after it, and it's a shame that the plinth has been damaged, because I believe one of the times I did it, no one had done it for about 2 or 3 years. It was the previous owner before the family took over it, and when I done it, I think it was 2000 and Christ, when did I do it? 2016 or 17 maybe. The stone hadn't been lifted for 2 or 3 years up until we did it, so it was pretty cool to do. It was frozen to the ground, and when we did it in the depths of winter, and unfortunately, probably just through more use of it, people doing it more and more and more and more, and people not maybe taking care of it, the plinth's been damaged. But the most important thing is it's been repaired, and it's still there for many, many generations to see it,
Mm-hmm. And so back to the Inver, when you first encountered that stone, aside from, Kaz having lifted it, what did it represent to you? Because for some reason, the more people I speak to in the stone lifting community and have on this show, there's 2 stones in particular that are their gateway stones. One is the Inver, and the second are the Dinnies. For you, what did that represent to you?
This might seem a bit underwhelming. Please don't think I mean it in any disrespect. because I love the stones and they're very special to me. But when I did them, I generally don't think I understood how important they were. Like it was Ken. Ken was like, "Oh, the Dinnie stones," and I'd heard of Donald Dinnie and stuff. He's like, "They're just beside my house. You want to have a go?" I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll drive up and have a go." So I kind of feel like that day when I did the Dinnies and then the Inver stone, maybe 45 minutes later, I don't think I appreciated what I had did, if that makes sense. I mean, it's super cool, and in retrospect, I'm very proud of the achievement. But I didn't know, I didn't know how, like, I didn't appreciate the the history, the historical nature, and the specialness of I think that's the word I'm looking for. How special those two stones were. So, but yeah, like obviously I appreciate it now, but at the time I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
I was totally ignorant to it. The only reason I was so good at pressing the Inver was because I used to do a party piece where when we used to lift Atlas stones, I would press them above my head rather than putting them on the barrel. And
Oh.
so I was training for the Inver stone unintentionally. And I think one day I pressed like a 120 Atlas stone above my head, and I think Stainless went, "You could press the Inver stone," and I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I'll have a go." So, and then when I did press it, I was like, I mean, I was at my absolute physical peak, and I'd been training for it unintentionally. I was the biggest I'd ever been, and my shoulder power was very impressive. So it was like I was, it was the perfect time for me to try it. You know, I did go back actually. I don't know if you know this, but I did go back on my 10th anniversary of pressing it. 10 years to the day, I took my daughter with me and I pressed it again because I said I didn't want for her to see her dad's most impressive feat of strength on an old VHS video. I wanted to witness it with her own eyes. So I went back 10 years later and I pressed it again in front of my daughter, and we both signed the book. Simone signed my 2019 entry with me. So that was really nice. I didn't press it as good, but I pressed it nonetheless. And considering I was I was into my 40s at the time, you know, so that was a nice turn of events, and I've got a nice couple of pictures with my wee baby girl. So I'm really pleased about that. I was dead chuffed. I think I was more proud of the second attempt than the first, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about fatherhood and your daughter because there's some great moments. The one in particular was the one-handed Dinnie stone lift, where you were holding hands with your daughter, and that day, and just some of the things that you've said is that you want to show her the strength, and that she has that in her too.
Yeah, without getting too deep into my personal life, I was unfortunate. I didn't grow up with a father, so I didn't have a father figure, a role model. I didn't have anyone to base my development into a man. I'd no figure to base that on. So I had to do everything cold turkey. I had to do everything ad libbing it. I had to wing it, I suppose. So when I became a father, I promised myself one thing and one thing only, that I would be the greatest father that ever existed. And I don't mean to take anything away from anybody else. There's loads of great dads out there, but I meant I had to be the greatest father I could be. So one of the most important things that I do with my daughter is when I grew up, I grew up in a very poverty-stricken environment, uh, heroin addiction, mass poverty. When I grew up in a place called Yoker, in a very rough street, and we were always taught that we weren't. The attitude was, well, we don't do that. We're not good enough. We can't. It was very negative, very a very unmotivational perspective in that environment I grew up. And I always said that I would teach my daughter the opposite, that I would tell her that she can do anything, she can achieve anything. She is better than 99% of the world. And if she, I've taught her really strong work ethic. I've taught her to believe in herself. And I'm very proud of her. And the irony is that my daughter's got probably probably a bit too much confidence. Like, I think if I gave my 10-year-old daughter, the car keys, and I went, go drive my car, she would go for it, because she, she believes in herself with total Like, she was the opposite of me growing up. Like, she's incredible. Like, she does, to give you an indication of what my 10-year-old girl does, she does sea cadets on a Tuesday, which is like training to be part of the Navy. She does double dance on a Wednesday, so she does tap, jazz, and ballet. She then does taekwondo on a Thursday. She goes swimming on a Friday, and then she's got a horse that she goes horse riding on at the weekends. So she's just incredibly active. She's not one of these sits in front of an iPad on YouTube watching crap influencers. She's very, very active, and I'm very, very proud of that. And she's so cocky, but not in a bad way. I'm like, so she's just full of confidence, and that's my greatest, my proudest moment, my greatest achievement as a father, is I've managed to shape my daughter into the complete opposite of what I grew up on. She's a father figure that that adores her and she loves back. She's safe and she's motivated and she wants for nothing. So I've worked so hard in the last 10 years to give my daughter everything she needs, from a horse to taekwondo lessons to an affectionate, adoring father, and that's probably my proudest achievement, is being my daughter's daddy.
That's huge. And the attachment there is so important for, well, boys and girls with their father. And but how the hell did you do that, Andy? Like, going from not having that growing up, because I just even caught myself yesterday. My daughter, she's in the army. We sent her off this past summer, and I was getting negative about something, and she's like, "Mom, we don't have time for that." Like, yeah, sure, this wasn't great, but like we're going to move on, and there's a lot of good things that, like, how did you change that mindset? Did it come through the powerlifting? Did it come through the strength sport? Like, how?
Again, this may sound underwhelming, and it may sound modest, but it comes through bullshit, and I'm sorry to use language, but a lot, like, uh, a lot of my positivity and a lot of my motivational stuff is it's a charade. I know that sounds, you're like, oh my god, that sounds so fake, but I know, but I'm very aware of my weaknesses. I'm very aware of my negativity. So rather than saying, oh, a lot of times I'm just like, you can't be honest, you can't be pessimistic. It's a lot. It's just like life or death. You need to stay focused. You need to stay positive. You need to stay motivational, and you need to stay. You need to be the father that your daughter needs to see you. Your daughter cannot see you admitting failure. Your daughter cannot see you questioning your ability. Your daughter cannot see you doubt anything, and that's what it is. I know it sounds weird, but it's like it's a fake front that I've developed to protect myself. My wife says it all the time. She goes, Lindsay goes, a lot of people think they know you. They don't know you. They know Andy the Outcast, but I know Andrew Cairney, because with my wife, I'm a lot more open and honest and intimate, and I share with her my darkest fears and my biggest regrets and stuff. I know I sound, I'm sorry, I know we're only talking about stones, I'm getting a bit heavy. So, so if you say to me, how did you change that mindset? My mindset hasn't changed. I'm just totally in denial, and it's a big front because my daughter she can't receive any negativity from me. So the whole, like, I do it all the time. Like, I think I've got 53 clients at the moment all over the world, and a lot of the times they're constantly questioning themselves, and I'm like, you can do this, you're the greatest, this is easy for you. And sometimes they go, how do you stay so positive all the time? And I'm like, I don't know. a lot of times it's just blatant lies. A lot of the times it's just ignorance, and a lot of the times it's just a big front. But you know what, if you don't tell them that, they believe it.
Yeah. Well, and speaking about mindset, and we'll go back to stones here, is obviously Atlas stones were my gateway in, and Ardblair were the first stones that I wanted to try in Scotland. And you've done them multiple times, you have records in it. But there's one in particular, and you're probably one of the best Atlas stone lifters around. And there was one time that you, just talking about that mindset piece, you were in the gym. I think there was a 175 kilogram stone there, but you decided after a whole long day that you were going to shoulder 195 kilogram stone. And I think that was a record at the time. Can you talk to us about that day?
Right. Okay. I'll tell you again. I'll tell you stuff that I haven't told anybody else, right? Because I normally don't mention the man. But there was a gym in out towards Edinburgh, just beside the Forth Road Bridge, called Unit 20, and it was started by a guy called Brian Cunningham, who went on to invent and start Strength Shop. This was the man that started the global sensation that is Strength Shop, the fantastic brand that make all the great stuff. So we used to frequent this little. It was a tiny little. It was almost like a little mechanic's garage type size, and we had all our strongman kit on it. So all the top guys from Scotland would go there. So they'd travel from all over, Fife, Edinburgh, Glasgow, and we'd all meet there on a Sunday and train together. It was really cool. So the guy that owned the place had bought 2 really, really big stones because some of us were getting stronger than the stones we had. Brian was a really nice guy, and he ordered these 2 obscenely heavy stones, a 175 and a 195. And everybody was like, now bearing in mind, at the time, the final stone at the World's Strongest Man was 160, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a really good friend of mine, and I need to emphasise this, one of the nicest, coolest, bestest guys I love to bits. He's the brother I never had, Stephen Cherry. Trained there on a Saturday and I trained there on a Sunday. And Stephen was a phenomenal stone lifter, a former world Scotland's strongest man himself, a fantastic guy. And Stevie had loaded the 175, and he left it on the platform with a smiley face, drew on it in chalk, and was like, "Ah, fuck you, I'm the first to lift the 175." So again, the guys were teasing me, are you going to let Stevie do that to you? You know, you need to lift the 195 now. And I was like, Jesus Christ, a 195 stone, over 400 pounds.
Yeah.
So, and the diameter of it was huge.
Yes.
Well, I was like, yeah, hoping everyone would forget about it. So we went and trained for about 3 or 4 hours. We're doing all sorts of events, log press, carry drag, farmers, whatever. And we always did stones last in the training session because they're always usually last in the competitions. So we were like, right, you need to have a go at this 195. So the initial plan was for me to load it and then put it beside Stevie's stone and draw a wee smiley face on it as if like a fuck you back to him. So I lifted it a lot, surprisingly easier than I thought. And I made the stupid mistake of turning and going, I think I could shoulder that. And everybody just burst out laughing and went, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. I was like, no, I think I can film it. So the video footage of it is someone that had like one of these really old digital cameras. It was a guy called Scott Taggart, and he was the only person that actually had a camera. This is the thing, like we used to train and not document because we didn't have phones and we didn't have video phones or anything. So, but now like every strength athlete's like, here's my whole workout on, Instagram. So he literally went to his car, got a digital camera, went, I need to film this. No one filmed the loading the 195 stone, but the fact that I made had the audacity to imply that I could shoulder it, they went, right, this is for, well, hold on, let's go get a camera, right? So I shouldered it, and I'm not going to lie, like, at the time, a gentleman called Derek Poundstone, an American Derek Poundstone, incredible athlete, unbelievable athlete, he had the world record. I think it was like 190 or something. So I shouldered it, and then everybody went bananas. And it was one of those weird you'll if you've not had this day, you will get this day. It's when you, and I'm sure everybody watching this podcast will experience this once, which when you do something that you actually surprise the shit out yourself, like you're like, I cannot believe that I physically just did that. If you look at I pull a really weird, Jesus Christ, did I just do that face as it slams against the wall and then rolls back and nearly kills me. So we posted the video on some strength forums and stuff, and then someone sent it to Ironmind, which was like the founding father of anything strength related. And then the guy that made the stone put a verification up that it weighed 195 because he showed the pictures that he had sent Brian when he bought it, showing the weight of it. So he's like, it's been verified, it's been weighed. So at that point, it was the biggest ever stone to the shoulder in the world. And I think the record stood for a very, very long time. I think that the only person that's lifted more than it is a gentleman called Martin Jeans, I think his name is, Welshman. He's now did 200 kilo. just recently. So that was the world record for at least 10, 15 years.
Wow. Yeah, I did watch that video as well, and that there was that look on your face at the end, like that you couldn't believe that you had done it. But speaking about Atlas stones, Ardblair, I think, has a special kind of place in your heart. You pretty much go every year, from what I can see from your feed. You've done the run, I don't know, maybe dozens of times now. Can you talk to folks about the Ardblair stones? Because I think there was a documentary called Granite,
Hmm.
and in that, I think you actually influenced Charlie in doing the Dinnies, if I'm not mistaken.
I coached him.
Uh,
I actually coached him.
yeah,
I physically coached him to do it. Yeah. Charlie. Regarding the Ardblair Stones, the
yeah,
Ardblair Stones is the coolest thing that's ever happened to anything in the world ever. It's really cool. Charlie's a really good friend of mine, and his idea to do this was just absolute genius. Uh, and it's really cool because me and you wouldn't be having this conversation if they didn't exist. How amazing is
no,
it? I,
yeah,
I now know that you have a daughter that's in the army, and congratulations for having such a wonderful daughter. My point is we would never have met. So the
no,
Ardblair Stones is fantastic. There's been a few imitators and people have tried to copy it afterwards and stuff, which is fair enough. Imitation is the highest form of flattery. But the Ardblair Stones are the original and the best, and I absolutely think it's fantastic. It's a great occasion. Anyone can do it. My daughter can do it. We can do it. You can do it. Tom Stoltman can do it. So it makes the thing that me and you are so passionate about, the thing that we're having this very podcast about, it makes it accessible. And that's the cool thing, is that it makes it accessible. I mean, to talk hypothetically, can you imagine if Rolex were the only people that made watches, and
yeah,
we all wanted a watch, but we couldn't afford £15,000 for a watch? But we can go buy a watch for $2, Casio. So that's what I mean, is like it's not elitist now. You don't have to be Tom Stoltman or Martin's Laces to do Atlas stones. When I started Strongman, the first ever set of stones I ever used were the McGlashan stones. They were so famous, and again at the time I didn't know there was the stones that was accessible. And then as we've progressed in the sport, people have started manufacturing them. You used to have Rusk stones from Shetland. Atlas Endurance now do the best stones by a mile. Those guys are fantastic. I love Atlas Endurance. So that means that people can buy stones, practice on them and stuff. So it's all about accessibility. And what my point is that if you let a child lift an 18-kilogram stone at Blairgowrie and Rathray Highland Games, that'll inspire them to want to do more. So in the next 20 years, I feel confident if you interview all the strongmen in the next generations, I guarantee you, if you turn and go, what got you into it? They'll be like, oh, I saw Ardblair Stones on Reddit or
hmm,
YouTube. I went to the Ardblair Stones. And so Charlie's totally unaware of, he's making an army of phenomenal strongmen in the future. And not just strong men, obviously strong women. So that's really cool. It's like, it's so accessible, and I absolutely love it. And I hope that Charlie continues to keep it there for as long as possible. And it's been an absolute honour to be part of it since I get invited to do it the very, very first time.
yeah. I mean, I met your folks there. I think Liam.
Yeah, Liam Goldie.
Yeah, Liam Goldie. He was there. There was another woman that was there that did that, and they both, like, I think you came in first, and Liam came in second, maybe that in 2023. But it was just so accessible, and the crowd just gets behind you, and it's, and this is I just had Derek on the show 2 days ago. And so my trajectory was, I saw him doing Atlas stones. I decided to do Ardblair stones. I go to Ardblair stones, and then I meet you. Like it's, it's like absolute. And then the Ardblair stones were my gateway to the historics. And that was meeting Jamie. And it's just this amazing, tight knit community that you all like doing these kind of odd things, but you're all super supportive along the way. And I could see that with your folks at the OBS. Like, they're just tight knit. all cheering each other on. They did really well that day. Predominantly all power lifters, I think.
I'm really like that's the thing. One of the things I'm really proud of is like there's a lot of people, and again, I'm not having a dig at anybody in particular here, and that's it's just total choice. There's a lot of people that come into this sport and leave, and they win stuff. They come in and they leave. They don't do anything back for the sport. They don't do anything back for the passion. They don't do anything back for the community. They don't leave a legacy other than a few trophies. And one of the things I'm really proud of is that I've gave back. I've ran competitions. I mean, the Ardblair stones. After I've finished, I stand behind the barrels and take the stones back off for Charlie, and we help put the barrels away and stuff. Because I've gave back, and I think that's really important. People take from all strength sports and give nothing back, and then they talk about people leaving a legacy. I'm like, you done nothing, you know. So I'm really proud of the fact, from me personally, not so much what I've achieved as an athlete, but I'm really pleased of what I've gave back to sport and the people I've taught to become athletes. Like, I think Diane won the Ardblair Stones for the girls. She's my athlete. She was my best mate's fiance and everything. So I was absolutely buzzing for Diane, because Diane had tried like 4 or 5 years, and we trained hard and harder and harder till she was good enough to win. So the thing I like about Ardblair, the Ardblair Stones at Blairgowrie, is that if I showed up, put my kilt on, done a run, won the comp, walked home with a trophy, that'd be great, fair play, I'd get a nice applause as the 9th stone went up. But for me, the Stones is more of an annual occasion, and I look at it when I drive away going, how many people did I take up? How many people did I help? How many people did I look after? How many people have now got one of those beautiful trophies because I coached them or encouraged them to do it? There's a girl, again, I'll try not to keep waffle, but there's a girl I coach called Scarlett, Steffi. Steffi's a beautiful woman, lovely, just a warm, adoring, fantastic person. She's very good friends with my wife, and she just got married last year, and she was a very, very big overweight girl, and the coach she had before me was not very nice. She came to me very, very low in confidence. She came to me very unmotivated, and she had her fingers burnt in the world of coaching. And Steffi and I have worked together now for a while, and she's lost loads of weight. She's got really, really strong, and the most beautiful thing is that her personality has grown like exponentially. She's just a different person. And last year when we went to the games, Steffi did a 5 stone run. Steffi's got no strength stone lifting background, but I said to her, listen, Scarlett, Scarlett's her nickname, by the way. Listen, Steffi, Scarlett, listen, Scarlett, let's come and do the stones. It'll be good. And we trained outside my gym for about 7-8 weeks before it, and she slammed 5 stones up. Now, there's been girls that have done 5 stones faster than her. There's been 2 beautiful women that have done more than 5 stones, the 2 legends, Donna Moore and Izzy Tate.
Izzy, yeah.
Izzy and Donna. What a couple of legends right there.
I know, right?
So there's been girls that have lifted more than Steffi, but Steffi went absolute viral. I think her video on Lad Bible and stuff, I think she got something like, I don't know, like maybe 1 million views. Now, that made me happier than when my video, I think my video went bananas. But I was trying to explain to you my mindset is I was more proud of Steffi's video than my own, because I took Steffi under my wing, and she was very low and confident. She was very, very, she was very unsure of herself. She wasn't a happy person. She was fragile. She was broken, and I took her under my wing, and I genuinely believe that the encouragement that she's had from me, the support, and the strength she's gained, and the weight she's lost, that I've completely changed her life. And see, when she went viral, I was so proud of her, and I was so pleased that a woman that literally didn't even like herself, like 2 years ago was an internet sensation, and that to me means more than any trophy. That to me means more than any title, and it means more to me than any video of me. I genuinely, I'm not just saying that, to take that girl and help her become a much happier person, and for her to go viral and get the comments people were leaving were so beautiful. See, for a woman she'd been hurt, she'd been abused by her coach. It was, you're no marketable, you're fat, you need to lose weight. She was just a horrible coach. We'll not talk about that too much. But there was pages of inspirational, go you, you're wonderful, you've inspired me to do this. I was so proud, and I would love you to meet her if you haven't met her in person. She's a great person as well. So from a coaching point of view, those things mean much more to me than a personal.
No, it's absolutely true. And as I said, like Jamie is my coach, and I've been with him now for 4 years, 5 years, and on and off. Anytime I'm doing something big in stone, I bring him back in. But it's just absolutely changed my mindset, my capacity, my confidence. And, coaches definitely have that role. But speaking about coaching, okay, I want to corner you on this because for those that haven't done the Ardblair stones, for women, we talked about Izzy and Donna, and they got the 6 and 7 stones. But for most women, our cap is the 5th stone, and then there's the big jump to the 6th. What advice, Andy, do you have from, and this is tacky list, by the way, folks. What advice do you have to help if we want to get that 6th stone? What would you do to train to be able to do that?
Right.
I know obviously more Atlas stones, but like
every girl that's done 5 stones all of a sudden starts paying attention.
yeah.
Basically, what you've got to understand as well is that Donna and Izzy are big women. I mean, tall physically, biomechanically. Like Izzy's, closer to 6 foot than she is 5, as is Donna. And I mean, Izzy's a 300 kilo deadlifter, and Donna Moore's won multiple world's strongest women. So the fact that they're the only two, bearing in mind that, there's some amazing athletes, the fact those are the only 2 women that have got to 7 shows how difficult it is to get from 5 to 6. So the advice that I would give women and guys that would like to get to the 6th stone as well is you've really got to work on your static power. Now, what I mean with that is that Izzy Tate didn't lift the 7 stone because she trained stones. What I mean with that is she lifted the 7 stone because she's a 300 kilo deadlifter. She's got a giant back. She's a very, very strong static lifter. So I think rather than saying to someone, you need to do more stones, which would make sense, the more you train something, the better you get. But what I mean with that is if you train, say, for instance, you train on a 70 kilo, an 80 kilo, 90 kilo stone, and you have to get to whatever it is, 110 or whatever the 6th one is.
Yeah.
But the problem is that you're limiting yourself to get stronger by doing a rudimentary movement. You need to think outside the box and go, right, I can deadlift X, and I can barbell row Y, and I can Zercher squat X and front squat Z. If I can get all those lifts up, in theory, I must have a better chance of getting the 6th stone. So I think if I was training, like someone said to me, right, Andrew, here's £1 million. I've done 5 stones, get me to the 6 in the next 6 months. How can you do it? I would say to them that I would really focus on a static, very static based few blocks, where I would focus on barbell rows, Zercher squats, front squats, and deadlifts. And then if you can get if all them improve, in theory, which is all, sometimes it's not always the case, but in theory, the stronger you are in all those movements, because if you break them down, that is you lifting a stone from the floor to the top of a barrel requires all those movements. The barbell row, the deadlift, the Zercher squat, and the front squat is essentially in order of how you will lift the stone off the floor. So if you can build all them up, in theory, you must have a better chance. And I think that's where a lot of the women have went wrong, is that they've focused on getting better at stones rather than just building their absolute static power. But again, without being finishing on a negative, unfortunately, just due to the sheer size and diameter of the 6 stone and the height of the barrels, because a lot of your lifters don't know this, but those barrels are high, man. Those are like 48, 50-inch barrels. So if a woman that was, say, under 5'6", and she weighed, it's going to be, you've got your biomechanically, physically, you've got your work cut out for you. You know, if you were 5'11", it would definitely help. If you were Donna Moore, it would help. That doesn't mean that it can't be done. But I tell you what, though, when you do the 6 stone, you can put yourself in an very elite group of ladies. So just like I did with Kazmaier, Brebner, and Hamish Davidson, they'd all pressed the Inver, I think, 20, 25 years before me. So no one had did it up until, I think Hamish did it in like 1989 or something. So my point is that although Donna and Izzy have done it a few years ago now, there's nothing to say that you can't be the first lady to do 6 and join that elite group, just like I joined mine with the Inver Stone Press.
Well, it's going to be a big back summer, so no, thank you, Andy. That's great advice, and I know for folks who are that 5th to 6th is just tough. And I mean the speed. And I remember something, and I love this that you said this to me because you came up to talk to me after my run, and I did it in like the 5 in under 30 seconds. And you're like, like that's fast. Like that's like, just imagine now when you go to when you can get the 6. And you were so positive, so, supportive. And that's what that day is about. It was just absolutely incredible. I think Lay Hauling Keen, or maybe one of your folks actually has the fastest run for Ardblair now.
For the 5?
Yeah.
I don't think it's Lee anymore. Lee did have it. She did. Lee's a lovely person as well. If you get the chance, get her on the podcast. If you haven't, she's lovely. I met her and her mother a long, long time ago, and they're just fantastic. And God bless her mum, who's no longer with us, unfortunately. But I don't know who's got the 5. I don't know. I know Diane, my friend, client, coach, relationship with Diane. She's got like sub 20, but I don't recollect off the top of my head who's got it. Whoever's got it right now and is watching this going, "Me, it's me. Why not?" So sorry, whoever's got it, sorry, I beg your pardon. How dare I not know that? But yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of girls that have done 5, but it would be nice if, I mean, it's a shame there's such a big jump. It's like, you want to go, Charlie, can we make the 6 maybe 10 kilos lighter? But, it's one of those things.
No, it's one of those things.
Go get it. Get that 6 stone. It's yours. Jamie will coach you for it, and I'll be there when you do it.
Definitely want it. Okay, so other iconic stones that you've done. Husafell. You were 40 years old. You took it around the pen. A remarkable achievement. Talk to us about that experience. I mean, very, very cool. And when was that? What year was that? If you were 40?
It was 2009. It was just before COVID. My wife and I had only been dating a few months. We started dating in the February, very, very relaxed, casually in the February, and this was the July. And the reason why I know what date it was is because me and my wife have this fabulous situation. We both have the same birthday. My wife and I are both born on July the 9th. She's had 10 birthdays less than me, but nonetheless, well, the same day. So we were lying in bed chilling, and she was telling me how it was her dream, it was her bucket list to see orcas. She's very passionate about marine biology and marine life, and it was her bucket list to go see orcas in the wild. And Iceland, from what I understand, and no first-hand now, is the place to go do it. So I'd said, well, it was her 30th and my 40th, and I went, you know what, I'd love to go do the Husafell. So I spontaneously booked his flights to Iceland, And ironically enough, I proposed to her after the Husafell and stuff, so that was pretty nice. But yeah, I did the Husafell stone and I did the full sticker stones on that tour, and it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. The Husafeld's an incredible thing. Loads of people are gone now and doing it. I think I was the first Scotsman to do it for a while. Certainly around the pen. But I was quite proud that on the same trip I did the full stickers, and I believe I was the first non-Scandinavian to do all the stones. So I was really proud and really pleased with that. And then Jamie might not tell you this, and it was a surprise, but Hapthor Julius Bjornsson gave me his signed Iceland his Team Iceland T-shirt for doing it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he signed me his World's Strongest Man T-shirt as well, but I never get. But so, so when Jamie did it, Jamie messaged me. He maybe not told you a story. Maybe I shouldn't be telling you. Maybe it should be just a secret between us gents. But Jamie phoned me or texted me, I think it was in the morning, of him doing it. And he's like, Andy, it's pissing rain. I don't think I can do the full sticker today. Do you think I should just leave it, or I do it another day? And I just says to him, Jamie, it's already done. You can do this. You're the man. It's done. Just go do it, mate. Take your time. Enjoy the occasion. And I think I said to him, message me back when you've done it. So he's like, you think I can do it? I was like, you've got it. No bother. Jamie, I done it and you're better than me. Go smash it. So I was just telling him everything he needed to know. And then I messaged his beautiful lady after it. And I said, give me your address. She said, what is it? And I sent him the Team Iceland top. And I sent it in, I did it as a surprise, incognito. What's the word I'm looking for? I did it in secret. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
So I sent him it, and I said, don't tell him, Gail. Don't tell him who sent him it. And then he got it, and he's like, oh, someone sent me this signed Iceland top. And I just said to him, listen, Hartford gave it to me for doing what you did, so I've gave it to you, so you need to pass it on now. So I was dead chuffed for Jamie doing the stones as well. And he's went back and done loads of stuff in Iceland now, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, I actually got a nice video made as well. There's a guy called Runar Gurmanson who I knew from powerlifting. One of the years I won the European Powerlifting Championship, best overall lifter, and he won best overall junior. And we were up getting trophies, and we just had it off and became really good friends. So he's a professional photographer, video maker, and he actually filmed me going round the pen and made this really professional video. So I absolutely adore that. I'm dead proud of that as well. It's rather than just someone filming it on their phone. I actually, because it was my 40th birthday, I actually got me to do a professional video, so I'm dead chuffed, and I'm really pleased with it. I like to go back and watch it every so often and remember when I was strong.
Well, I remember seeing footage when you got the full sticker that there was crowds of people around you, and
oh yeah, oh my God, my wife will. Well,
and you were holding babies. You were holding babies.
Right. Now, listen to this, right? My wife and me have a running joke because she says I exaggerate all the time with this story, right? I exaggerate, right? And the video footage proves it to be the case, right? So, me and my wife, I'm going to tell you quick, I'm so sorry. Me and my wife went out and looked at whales in the wild. And we were really lucky because we saw hundreds of whales and everything. She was crying her eyes out. Not even cute cries, snorting. She was so happy. I made her life just incredible. She achieved a bucket list. She was rolling and greeting. But the whole time she was watching these whales, I was vomiting profusely. I did not know until this point that I had no sea legs and I was violently ill. So we had planned to go view the whales and then go straight to Full Stecker because they were right beside each other in a place called Dreidvik. And so I was like, I'm not doing to eat. I've been sick for 4 hours. I'm not going to be able to do these stones. And she's like, well, you've got no choice because we're on a tight schedule and we're not driving 5 bloody hours back. So I was like, oh my God, I don't think I can do this. This is the thing is, I had the same doubts as Jamie. So I was like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to be able to do this. I've been thrown up for hours. I feel nauseous. I've had no food. I'd convinced myself that I wasn't capable of doing it. And then as we walked down to do the stones, for some bizarre reason, there was 2 big giant tour buses of tourists that came down to see the beach. And then the guy was like, "Oh, look, everyone, this man is going to try to be full sticker." The next thing I know, I've got 2 buses of tourists watching me do it. So I'm like, shit, I better do it now. You know, I didn't want to fail it. But failing it in front of my wife, wouldn't have been too bad. But I now had an audience of, I don't know, those buses, maybe 20,000. Biggest buses in the world. There's 10 buses. No.
Yeah.
So I managed to lift it in front of all the people, and then they were like, "Oh my God, he's full sticker. This is a big thing." So people were queuing to get pictures with me, and then this woman was like, "Will you take a picture with my baby so that my baby's met a full sticker?" So, so I was absolutely buzzing. I was like, I couldn't believe I'd done it, because the circumstance that preceded it was everything was against me, and then I managed, me being me, but like. Most people would go down and do it in complete and utter desolation, maybe one person, but I happened to have an audience to perform in front of, and I think the audience there was the reason why I had to do it. Like, I genuinely, again, my self-doubt, I think if it was just me and Lindsay, I might not have achieved it, I might have failed it, but the fact that I had all these people watching me, I went, I've not got time to be the small child from Yoker with all my self-doubt and my negativity. I've got to perform here. I've got to perform. I can't let these tourists down. They've paid for this tour guide to take them to see a full sticker. Everyone wants to see it, and somehow I managed to perform the feat. And it's like, I always, for some reason, if you give me an audience or you put me in a high pressure situation, I seem to perform better.
You see, well, yeah, I saw the baby picture, and it was just absolutely like it looked like you were a politician, right? Like you were just out.
It's
It was
a
great.
huge thing for the Icelandic people. It's a huge. It's an honour to meet a full sticker. It was really nice because just after I was sitting with my wife, and my wife is so pretty. She's so beautiful, and I'm so lucky to have her. And
very gorgeous.
yeah, I know. I agree. So we were sitting on the edge of the beach, and the sun was shining. It was such a beautiful day in July, and my wife was just taking nice pictures, and the sun was hitting her, and she just looked gorgeous, and she had one of my hoodies on, and we'd only been dating for a while, and I was like, I'm about to propose to this woman in the next couple of days. I was madly in love. I fell in love with her. The sun was beating down the side of her face. She looked gorgeous, and I've just performed full sticker in front of all these people, and I was like, my life can't get any better. It's like, this is me peak. And my phone went, and it was an unknown number, and I answered it, and as I answered it, Hartford Julius Bjornsson went, "Full sticker!" And I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, "Hey, come to my gym. I want to, congratulate you." And I was like, "Get the fuck." I was like, "Oh my God, the mountain's on the phone. The mountain's got my phone. How the fuck did he get my number? What the fuck?" Right.
That's wild.
So I drove to his gym, and he met me there, and he was like, "Hi, Andy, congratulations. Fantastic." I had the pleasure of, he'd came to train in my gym a couple of times, and we'd met beforehand, and I'm really good friends with Steffi Solvi Pettersson and stuff. And so I think Runa had told him that I'd done it. He'd phoned me. He's like, "Phone Andy and tell him congratulations." So I went to his gym, and he signed his World's Strongest Man winning T-shirt. I have it in my possession. And he said, "Here, you deserve this. Congratulations, full sticker." Now, a lot of people don't know Hartford, and a lot of people maybe don't know that side of him, because, his strong Icelandic accent, he's quite, he's a larger-than-life personality. But how nice was that? That is, to congratulate someone that you barely know on a feat of strength that he could have done easy. So I was like, "Thank you so much." And Jesus Christ, my head was so big that day. It was like the greatest day of my life. I was like, "All right, Hartford, yeah, thanks. Is that your World's Strongest Man T-shirt? Thank you, sir."
Wow. How did he get your number?
What happened was, Runa, who was going to do the video for me, the Husafell video, he saw that I'd put it up on my Instagram story, then gave WhatsApp, because Runar works for Hapthor in his gym. So Runar had gave Hapthor a text and said, Andy's just done full sector. Here's his number. Gave him a phone and say congratulations. So that was really nice. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I know that like every experience seems to top the next, but truly the one, and we mentioned it before, the one picture that I adore the most of you showing strength in so many ways is the one where you're at the Donald Dinnie games and you're on the platform, you're lifting the one stone with your and one hand and your hand in your daughter's hand. And so you've done the Dinnies like 2009, like so many times. Have you walked with them?
No, I've never tried, to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I would be very good at it. I've got my strength. Obviously, I've made my mark in the strongman in the community, in the stone lifting community. I've pressed the Inver. I've done some stuff that's going to leave a legacy in the sport. But I'm very aware of my abilities. And I'm very aware of my strengths and my weaknesses. And I don't have particularly big thumbs. Right, I have very small thumbs for such a big hand, and unfortunately, I'm not very good at hook grip with these chubby little thumbs. So,
Yeah.
in order for you to be good enough to hold the Dinnies long enough to be able to control them and walk with them, you need to have a much stronger hook grip, and I don't think I've got it in me. I've lifted them a couple of times, which is cool. I'm really proud of it. But I don't have the hook grip of someone like Mark Haydock or Lon Shahley or whatever. So the reason why I've never tried to walk with them is because I don't think I'd be very good at it, and I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable admitting that. Yeah.
But you did win the Donald Dinnie games the one year, right? Like
Yeah.
when you were
That picture with me and my daughter was one of the first gatherings, the Donald
right.
Dinnie Day, and I won it. Yeah. Which was pretty cool. That was the video as well. The stone lifting video went viral. That was what I think it got like 600, like insane amount of. It was so popular on YouTube they had to split it onto two separate videos. And then it went on to Lad Bible and it got something like 85 million views on
Oh
Lad
my
Bible.
God.
And Charlie Blair Oliphant gave the rights to Lad Bible. They asked him and he went, yeah, use it. Charlie being Charlie, just like, this is great promotion for my passion. And we calculated that had Lad Bible if he kept the rights, Lad Bible would have to have paid him something like £67,000 or something he missed out on. It's like,
That's so Charlie though. Like Charlie is just the nicest, sweetest, really, really a great guy. He truly is, and did so much for it. So you won that, and then there's a trend I see through when you do your posts on social or when you're with your daughter is that you push yourself beyond absolute logic to make your daughter proud. What would you say was one of those moments? Was it in the powerlifting, doing 800-pound squat? What would you say is the thing that you've pushed yourself the most on?
for my daughter, yeah,
Mhm.
probably the second press of the Inver, when I did it in my 40s, because obviously I wasn't as strong and my shoulders were knackered. But when my daughter's there, it's like I've got to maintain my position as the coolest dad in the world. I can't let my daughter down. As far as my daughter's concerned, and every daughter should be the same way of their dad, is that your dad's the baddest man on the planet. So if my daughter's watching me, I can achieve feats of strength that I would have never have thought possible, because if I'm lifting something in front of my daughter, it's do or die. It's life or death. Because I don't want to fail her. I don't want to ever go to my daughter and my daughter goes, don't worry, Dad, that other guy was stronger or whatever. So, yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm glad. I know it sounds maybe a bit unusual, but I'm kind of glad I waited till I was a bit older to have a child. The reason I waited because I just wasn't in a financial position to do so, and I probably wasn't mature enough to have a child. So I'm glad I waited till I was in my early to mid 30s to have Simone. But the good thing is that because she's 10 years old now and I'm her dad, is that she wants me to impress her. She wants to show off and brag about her dad. So it keeps me motivated to still train in my mid-40s. And it's like, people must be like, people say like, oh, you've won like this so many times. Why are you still training so hard? And I'm like, because my wee daughter's got to be proud of me. I want my daughter to have an abundance of memories as she grows up, looking up to her dad. The fact that I've waited till I'm in my 40s makes this much harder. But like, quite literally, there's been like, I broke Tom Stoltman's silver dollar record, and I really didn't want to do it. It was a silver dollar comp. And the week before it, I had horrendous, like, stressful week with running comps and everything. And I was like, I've not got this in me. And I picked my daughter up from school and she said, Daddy, are we still going to the competition tomorrow? And I was like, oh shit, I thought she'd forgot about that. And I was like, yeah, we'll go. So I picked her up and we went to the silver dollar comp, and it was like my attempt to take the all-time Scottish record off of Tom. And I pulled it, fortunately enough. And again, I don't think I wouldn't have done the comp. I would have pulled out because I'd convinced myself that I was not in a shape to do it. I had a really stressful week. I'd been eating crap, and I just convinced myself that I wasn't in the right place to do it. But the fact that my daughter was there, I was like, you got no excuse. You can't you can't chicken out in this. Your daughter's watching, get it done. So again, that goes back to the mindset I was trying to explain, was where a lot of the time I'm really, really negative, very, very self-doubting, and constantly question my ability. But when other people are there, or I've got an audience, or my daughter's there, it's just like, you've not got time to bullshit here. You've not got time to be seconds. You just got to go pull it. And again, another beautiful day where I broke the all-time record with my daughter, which we walked out of there with a couple of new trophies. She was dead proud. I got some beautiful pictures with her and my wife. And then I believe I ran the biggest Halloween party on the history of Halloween parties for my daughter. Where she invited everyone from her school, everyone from her dance class, everyone from Taekwondo. And my gym had been transformed into a Halloween party theme, and we had a giant screen with Just Dance, or Dance Off, and slushy machines, and everyone left me to look after, I think it was 60 kids alone.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was much more challenging.
So, I mean, you obviously are creating legacy. And what do you hope that legacy is, as both like a father, a gym owner, which you've recently, I don't know if it's just recently, but like you've renovated it, you've got like bodybuilding machinery, like it's just like top notch, and an athlete. What do you hope that legacy is?
From again, with it being cheesy, I don't care if anybody remembers any of my lifts. I don't care if anybody goes, oh, Andy would still out squat this guy, or Andy was the first to do that. I genuinely, I'm in it to leave a legacy. Is if I die and I made my mum proud, my daughter proud, and my wife proud, if they were proud of me, and my daughter looked up to me, or my mum was proud that I was her son, and my wife was proud I was her husband. If they were proud of me, I'm really, really happy. But also, like to reiterate what I said earlier on, people like Scarlett and Liam Goldie and my best friend James and everybody else, everybody that I've helped achieve their goals and stopped them making the mistakes that I made, that's the stuff I'm proud of the most. I'm genuinely, I know some people might be like bullshit, or you're just being humble. It's genuinely the truth that I get so much more satisfaction out of creating someone else's memories and someone else's records and someone else's achievements than I do my own, because I'm my own worst critic. When I squatted 400 kilo, I was unwrapping my knees, and my mates all ran over and like, you're the first man to ever squat 400 and incredible. And the first thing I said was, yeah, I got to squat 900 pounds now. I didn't even give myself 10 seconds to enjoy the moment, because I'm so self-critical. And again, it's my best and worst quality. But when someone else achieves something and I was a part of it, I really enjoy it much more, because it's like it's a different sensation, a different feeling. So when I've took people to, like my main girl in powerlifting's Amy, Amy Brown. We call her Kim Kardashian because she's got huge quads. Like, Amy just won the best overall at Night of Champions, and I've trained her since she was a lot younger. I've took her from zero to the #1 powerlifter in Scotland, and she's a wee single mum. She's a really hard-working single mum. She's a great mother. She's a great athlete. She's got great work ethic. She works hard. She's no nonsense, no airs and graces. And she just got invited to ABS, which is this big, huge pro competition in Ireland, and she was so ecstatic about it. And I think stuff like that which gives me much more happiness, is going that I've took her from a wee baby to one of the best powerlifters in Europe. So these things bring me great pride and joy, and that's what I want to be remembered as: a great coach, and a great father, husband, son.
Yeah, and I think, as I've said to you before, as we started the podcast, is that I do think that people don't know this, or not enough people know this, is that you really have done a lot for bringing back stones to the forefront, popularizing it before it became, as popular as it is now. And as we depart from this episode, I just wanted to stop here for one moment. As we said, people are rediscovering historic stones all over the world. Like Ireland is there every day, there's a new stone being unturned. What excites you most about this revival, but what concerns you as well?
Um, See, this is maybe why. Remember, I talked at the early stages of being an outcast, is that I've got a slightly different perspective on the stone lifting. I believe the stones are there to be lifted. I know everybody agree with this, and that's okay. But I believe the stones are there to be lifted. And unfortunately, the more people we let lift, we don't let, but the more people that become aware of them and decide to go choose to lift them, there's the higher chance they're going to get damaged and they're going to get broken and they're going to get ruined. Now, I feel that we should do our best to inform and educate people to take care of the stones. And again, Jamie's done a great job of that, as has Martin Janskis and James Graham and Peter Martin and everybody else that's made stones what they are today. But at the same time, I don't feel we should put stuff under lock and key. I don't feel like there should be elitism, like, oh, you can only lift this stone because it's been broken with some asshole, or you're not allowed to lift it anymore. No, that's not a dig at anybody, and there's no specific stone I'm referencing here, but I just feel that we need to get a balance where the stones are safe and they're protected, but at the same time they're accessible to everyone, because no one should have the right to deny another human being the right of a stone. Now, I get it if someone's known for being reckless with the stones, we should, say, listen, we've seen your videos, we'd rather you didn't lose a stone. I get it, I totally get it, but I just feel if you're asking me, my concern is that we're in a weird position where when I was doing them, there was a very, very small number of people doing them, and we did them for the right reasons. But unfortunately, due to social media and everyone trying to do social media content and looking for likes and try to develop personalities to make up for their complete lack of their own one, that there's guys are doing stone lifting for different reasons than what me, Jamie, Martin, Shanksy and yourself is. We're doing it for the love of the sport and the love of the history. But my main concern is that I want to see the stones be protected, but we don't want to put them under lock and key. And there's a couple of stones in Ayrshire called the Blue Stones of Old Daly. And they're incredible stones, and they've been bolted to the wall by the Ayrshire Council, and they shouldn't be there. They've never been lifted in the time I've been involved stone lifting, and I just feel it's an absolute disgrace that they're stuck on a wall where they should be get lifted. Me, Jamie, and everybody else, Brett, Nicol, we should all have had a shot of them, but we can't get them. And I'm worried that more stones are going to do that. So that's my concern, is that, yes, I want the stones to be safe, but not that safe.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's absolutely fair. And I think that as you say, there are the performative stone lifters that may not know the history, but hopefully through episodes like this and through Instagram and through books and through the work that so many folks are doing, hopefully we'll continue to keep that tradition. Just cognizant that we are approaching an hour and a half here, and I could still go on for days. But I will wrap this up because you are a busy gym owner and dad and husband. I always ask my guests for 3 pieces of advice as we part from the episode. And it can be stone lifting, it could be weight training, it could be life. It's open to you to decide.
3 pieces of advice. I haven't preempted this or thought about it, because I'm a very spontaneous person. But I think three of the most important pieces of advice is, 1, you're not the main character. A lot of people think they're the main character in this, and they're not. You need to be aware of your surroundings and aware of everybody around you. It costs absolutely nothing to compliment and motivate people. It costs nothing. And you don't know how powerful that motivation and compliments can be. And thirdly, don't be a dick. That's it. Don't be a dick. Just to summarise, you're not the main character. Compliments and motivation cost free, and just don't be a dick. Now, that's simple. Just dead simple. Be a good person. Show respect to everyone around you. And the world's beautiful. Go out and enjoy it.
Well, Andy, that's a great way to leave the episode on. I can hardly wait to meet you again in person. I'll be over in May and September, so hopefully I can take a stop by your gym. And we can put in a few lifts. But again, thank you for this opportunity to share a window into a stone lifter who was doing this well before it became popularized, and the father behind that as well.
No worries. Awesome. I look forward to
Awesome.
it. It's been an absolute pleasure to have spent 90 minutes in your time. And I know you're probably going to say this, but we both know this is the greatest podcast of all time.
Thank you very much, Andy. You're the best. Like and subscribe, people. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.